Right, like they're just trying to do their jobs, and here
Yeah.
you are. And
I kind of, not only did I push them around, they couldn't push back. Like the guy I have become now, was if a group or a best boy or whoever it was on the show punched me in the face, I'd know I had that coming. I was 10, so he'd get in real trouble. But, I knew I was a big albatross around some people's throats.
right, they're like, here comes Danny, just turn the other way.
But they'd have big birthday parties for me, and they bring in caterers and stuff. Like I said, I guess I'm going to say this a lot today. It was just all so great. Even some of the bad parts were great.
What about like, what did you learn from like David, Cassidy, and like Shirley? Like, what's something you take away of like, this is what I learned just from the business?
I'll tell you what I learned from David Cassidy, and it's not like he tried to teach me this lesson, but I learned it. I saw it happen, and that is, I learned the world is yours. Go get it. I saw people hurling things at David Cassidy. I said, I want that thing. How are they throwing that thing at my friend David Cassidy? So I figured out what it is, because I was never going to go, as you can probably tell by now, I was never going to go on beauty. Nobody's ever going to say you're the handsomest guy and best looking girl in the whole wide world. But I got clever, and I got real clever. This is like the
Were,
weirdest podcast I ever did, man.
why? How so?
I don't know. You seem to have this. If I am to represent all people, is it really want to talk to you? I want to tell you stuff. I want to do grand gestures like this. Say, oh, it was all great, because I just want to do it.
Listen, I like, just cutting through it all and like really getting to know someone when they're here, I guess.
Yeah. That's right.
And I think just from like, the honest point of like, like we're all cognizant of like the business and how it works and certain things that come with it. And like, there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad, right?
Right. Although I was really famous when I learned that lesson, so it does turn things weird.
So that's where, when the Partridge Family ends, like you were very open about, I mean, you've made statements about, like that's when you were broke and homeless, like walking, and the drugs. Walk me through that.
Red sweatshirt on, and my wife said, "Are you sure you want to wear that?" And I said, "Yeah." I mean, why do you find it disrespectful? And she said, "No, because I have a big thing about that." She said, "No, but it's got uh, it's got Johnny Cash on it." And every time somebody says, "Hey, is that Johnny Cash?" I say, "Yeah," but I was arrested twice more than that guy, thinking that's some honor that I've been arrested more times than Johnny Cash. But what I'm saying, I am open and honest. And when my radio show starts in the morning, my producer put together a whole bunch of things on it. And one of the things was Shirley Jones saying, "Go to your room." And why is that interesting to me is she pointed up a flight of stairs and said, "Danny, go to your room." Because I was being a jerk on set. And they looked and said, "There's no room. There's no upstairs. There's none of that. You're gonna say that. You're gonna say, go to your room. They're gonna cut, and we're gonna be a mile from here when we do the other scenes." So she will dispute that, but I was right there. She yelled, "Danny Bonaduce, you go to your room."
And you're like, there is no upstairs.
There's no upstairs. And the stairs, if you've ever seen fake TV stairs, they actually go up, but they get smaller. So the distance between them is kind of an open that's going up somewhere, but it's not. It's just fake.
Interesting. Were you shocked? Like, people think like, oh, you're on a hit TV show. Like, there's no way you could be broke after that. I mean, like, if you're in the business, you understand how it works, but does this still shock you when people are shocked by that?
You were talking about shows today, and one of the differences, they've been on 4 years or 5 years or 6 years. I will tell you something about the Modern Family cast. The kids did equity versions of, and it was $400,000 per episode. Go ahead and ask me what I made per episode.
What did you make? I mean, I could guess, but
Oh,
probably not.
yes, having fun.
I would have said like $1,000.
That would have been close. 400. 400
Wow.
to beat Danny Partridge, but like it wasn't all pretty. But the things that went well for me, aside from some things that were drama, it was always like some people say, "Hey man, how could you really live like that? Do you really live in your car?" And by the way, that's exaggerated, but I spent a lot of time there. But when you look back on it as being a super famous guy living in his back seat, that's interesting to me. If somebody else said it about them, I'd say, "Oh man, that's wild." Well, I used to get woken up by the cops all the time. They knew who I was, and they said, "You can't stay here." And I said, "Where can I go?" And they did the old bar line. "You have to leave. I don't care where you go, but you have to leave."
Did you get special treatment when you were being woke up by the cops? Like celebrity's a powerful thing.
You might remember those from the Inquirer, how the special treatment I got in. No, I mean, they were nice to me if they got a break to be nice to me. But I'll tell you the things I know about cops is they do their job. If it was a job and it was okay and you don't have to arrest me, that'd be great. But they'd arrest you. They'd arrest their buddies. It's their job and they're good at it.
And you made 400 an episode like throughout the whole run of the show, more or less.
Last season, six.
Wow. When you, yeah, well, there you go. You do the math, and
Yeah,
that's
you were just saying about going broke, and you must have. I was broke always. There was no money ever. The whole sum of everything I made, including residuals, was $72,000. And when I turned 18, and I got the $72,000, I spent it in an afternoon. So I've always been broke. There are times when I was a little more flush. But then, Ray, I'll tell you, radio. Don't worry for me. I do fine in my radio job.
were you ever then, bitter, like, okay, look at Shirley, look at Susan Day, look at David Cassidy.
No, David Cassidy was a separate animal. But when you get to the part show, I'm the guy. That's all there is to it. I'm not pretty, but I'm adorable, and apparently I'm real funny, and that meant a lot to me. So I don't look back on it, much like the current things. Not my radio show because that's really good. But I don't look back on anything and sad that it happened.
That's a good attitude, I think.
Well, it's not my attitude. It's a thing. It's nothing I'm doing to feel better about myself. It's just the way my life is going.
Did you take any memento from set?
Hold it. Hey, honey, did I ever take a memento from the set? Can you get it for me? You're like this.
Because I feel like I'm the type that takes, like you're sentimental. You're like, I'm leaving.
David Cassidy stole $25,000 worth of equipment and guitars and things like that. I don't know about the other guys. I was a little bit bitter about that. But I got, man, this is so cool. I really like this about to happen. I got this. That's the sign from my dressing room door. And that's what I got. And I feel, I talked about the moments with my mother, although you weren't talking about that, I was. But we were bummed that I didn't get anything with the Partridge Family. She went back to the set, and she had to argue her way onto the set already. She took, but you can't see right here. She took a screwdriver and took this off my dressing room door. And like I said, she passed away a couple of weeks ago. But that means the world to me. And it's not just because she passed. That meant the world to me from the get-go. I had this.
It has the low. That's yeah. I like it.
Contest. I'm the purple one. In case somebody says, wait, what color partridge was Danny Bonaduce? The answer is the purple one. Shirley Jones, David Cassidy, Susan Day, Danny Bonaduce, Brian Forster, Suzanne Crowe.
I love it. And David Cassidy has $25,000 worth of equipment.
Yeah. I stole one of his jackets one time, not at the end of the show. I just stole it. It was out there. Luckily, I was still skinny because that man's a stick. And I reached into the pocket and there's a big, gigantic joint. And I guess the party show was over. I was 14 and I had a joint. By the way, marijuana was terrible back then. I could have smoked 9 of those things and nothing would have happened. But I like the story.